Welcome back to the jmsYOU mini-series. Today we'll be discussing the topic of being an estranged student at university. I'm joined by Marie and Shaquita, who were both estranged students at university, and they're here today to share their own story and personal experiences of what it was like to be an estranged student and how they experienced Christmas. Thank you both of you for coming on the podcast. If you just want to introduce yourself to everyone, tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name is Marie and I studied forensic psychology and criminal justice. I graduated in July and I am from Italy and my role at the moment is president of Jmsu.
Hi, I'm Shaquita and I studied international relations and politics, but I also did a sneaky year of law as well. I am a law school dropout technically. I'm currently the Vice President of Education and I'm from Liverpool, as you probably already guessed.
So if we just start with sort of explaining what it is to be an estranged student, how would you define it?
So this definition comes from Standalone, who are a company that jmsYOU are working with alongside the Student Advice and Wellbeing team, and they essentially support estranged students through higher education. And their definition is that estranged students are young people studying without the support and approval of a family network. Young people in this position often have no contact at all with their family and have removed themselves from a dysfunctional situation. But I think it's important to note that that's kind of a more technical legal definition. So estrangement does come in many ways, and for a lot of people you do still have to have contact with your family, for whether that's to do with siblings, housing, whatever it could be. But yeah, that's the running legal definition that's there.
So Marie, how was your personal experience at John Moore's as an estranged student?
Yeah, so I obviously got estranged before I came, so it was in the process. So I didn't have, obviously wasn't qualified for certain loans that you have to, or financial support, but I was in contact with one of the finance advisor who kind of helped me throughout my 3 years. It's quite hard because obviously some estranged students will be estranged before they come to uni for a long time. Some will go through the process whilst they're starting, so it's a bit hard to manage yourself, understanding certain things that you didn't really care about before, having to provide for yourself and move around alone essentially. So that was kind of my experience, and obviously being from another country as well is the adaptation of a different system. So obviously I did high school in Italy, college here, but university was never something I've done, so it's also managing that on your own.
And when did you move over from Italy?
So I've been here for 6 years now, but I've been here for 4 years in Liverpool, and yeah, it was a long time ago, but also not so long.
And did you was it easy for you to make friends at the beginning of university?
Yes and no. So yes, because I make friends easily, but then again it's adaptation of living in another country. I had to learn the language, kind of put myself out there, otherwise I would have been a loner. So it's quite easy for me to make friends, but also navigating uni, I did make friends on the Facebook groups, for example, right before I moved to uni. So I had someone here already that lived here, so it was easy to navigate the city centre and everything. So yeah.
And you said about coming over, obviously speaking a different language and stuff like that. But how was your English when you first moved over? Did you have to learn it?
Yeah, so I had to do ESOL, so where essentially they put all the students who don't really have English as their first language, and then you kind of learn with each other, and then I got thrown into a class full of English students, which I'm grateful because it helped me speed up my learning. So yeah, I had to learn everything again.
I bet that was really daunting though, getting thrown in straight away.
Definitely different than the English you learn from your own country. It's still English, but it's a completely different thing when you come here. Yeah.
And what about you, Shaquita? What was your sort of experiences being estranged at uni?
Mine was quite similar, well, not that similar to Marie's, but in terms of I didn't know I was estranged until I came to university. So it wasn't until I filled in my student finance and I was waiting for that to come in to pay my rent, and I didn't really keep track of my application. And then I realised it hadn't came in yet, so I was a bit panicked, so I went to Student Advice and Wellbeing, and they actually called Student Finance and tried to sort it out for me, and it turned out I'd filled in the wrong box because I'd put my parents' information on there, but then I'd also ticked that they were my guardian instead, so that flagged up as being estranged, which is a whole different form to fill in. So that was really stressful, but similar to Maria, I got really good support financially from the money advice team, which helped me through until I got my next instalment. But then I knew it was a whole kind of different process in forms that you have to fill in, or the proof you have to get that you are estranged, which was quite difficult considering I didn't know I was. So it was who to contact for that. Yeah, it was really weird. I didn't even know what estrangement was really until then. But then I was quite unfortunate where my guardian, who my mum actually passed away, so then I was fully estranged. So I literally had near enough no family, no contact with any family. So that was a whole different process. So I think it's highlights the different ways you can be estranged, because you've got people who obviously are estranged through death, people who are estranged through being in a different country. They could be estranged and still living at home like I was and didn't know. So it was finding that support that was difficult, but there was support there, I just didn't know where to look. So that was kind of the hardest thing for me. But the advice and wellbeing team, one guy in particular, Phil Backstead, was my rock throughout the whole of university. He'd always call me up during COVID just to check in if I was okay, see how things are going financially, academically, all of it.
Have you found that while you've been at uni that you've met a lot of other people who are sort of in similar positions to you that say they also didn't really know that there was support out there for them as well?
Yeah, I think it's the difficulty of knowing. I think it's the term estranged maybe. People just don't know what that means, so don't know that they fit into that box. And a lot of it's when it comes to housing and things like that. So for me, I went to sign for my house and it needed a guarantor, but I didn't have a guarantor because I didn't have any parents to fill in that form for me. So it's not till then when you're oh, what do I do? So then you contact people and look around and they're oh, is that because you're estranged? And you're yeah, that makes sense now. So, and it's similar for a lot of people. I think international students particularly relate to that topic quite a bit.
I feel like anyone can, because I have an English friend who's actually estranged, but obviously she has a home and a family and she lives at home, but she provides for herself, she has to work for herself. So being estranged doesn't mean you've been kicked out. Obviously some people are in that situation, but also you have people who are technically not seen as estranged but are. So that's kind of and I met other students who are technically estranged but still in communication with their parents, not by choice but because they have to, and there's a whole bunch of different reasons why. So it kind of depends on a personal type of thing. Yeah,
definitely.
I think there's people as well that become estranged when they come to university. So you might get to your third year and you have a really bad falling out, or something does happen, or you just realise actually I want to cut ties with my family, I don't need them anymore, and they won't realise there's so much support there that you can access because they don't know that. They might think it's too far gone or what, but yeah, I think it's really difficult to try and navigate on your own.
And I think also the term estranged might think, oh, you're homeless, you don't have a family, or it kind of gives a negative, very sad connotation that, oh, you're alone, which some cases is true, but some other cases you're not, because your immediate family might estrange you, or you might be estranged, but you also have extended families that you're still in contact with, but they're not technically your family, if that makes sense. But
yeah, I think it's really important to put that forward as well, because I think a lot of the sort of stereotype of what the definition of estranged is that you have no contact and that's it, full stop. So I think, pointing out that, you can still speak to your family, or you can even still live at home, and everything like that will still make you estranged. Hopefully that will make some people, realise that they are estranged.
Sometimes it's quite hard for some people to actually accept that they are, once they know that they are, but also there is a cultural difference and everything like that. So yeah, it's just people knowing and also coming to terms with it, because it can be hard having the support of your family, friends, and then random point you're like, oh, okay, I don't have that anymore. How do I, for example, we struggled a lot with like housing and like putting down guarantor forms, putting down deposit. You have to work so many hours to kind of like finance yourself whilst you're doing uni. In case you've got childcare as well, that's even worse. Yeah, so.
When you were saying about your like housing issues and getting a guarantor and stuff, how did you resolve that?
For me, I had to pay a certain amount in advance. I think it was like 4 months' rent in advance before I could move in, and then that kind of acted as a guarantor. But there was also, I was directed to this thing called Helping Hands, is it? Which work quite closely with the university, and they can act as your guarantor, and you have to pay them like a certain fee a month, so I think it's like £20 a month or something, and they'll act as your guarantor. But that, although it's a good option that's there, it's so expensive when you already don't have enough money to do that. So I just worked loads to try and do that. But I think we have partnerships with certain accommodations that can kind of waive that guarantor fee, so like all of the Unite accommodations as well. So in my very first year, that's what I did then, so I didn't need a guarantor. But then it was after that when I realised I'm going to have to save up quite a lot of money to be able to move out. And it's awkward because you don't want to say to your friends like, oh, can we look for somewhere where you don't need a guarantor? Because then your options get really narrowed down and it just makes it very complicated.
It's very rare though in Liverpool, I found, because I didn't go to halls because, like, again, based on my financial, it was just me helping myself. So I couldn't go to halls because they were way too expensive. And again, I didn't classify as estranged, so I couldn't benefit from that, if that makes sense. So I had to find house, like private accommodation, to do that. Again, guarantor form, money. If I didn't save enough money before coming to uni, probably would have been homeless because I didn't have anything else. So yeah.
Did you have to pay international fees as well?
Oh, right. So my situation is a bit complicated. So because I was born in Africa, but I have a EU passport and I lived here 4 years before coming to uni. So technically I classify as home student, but I'm an EU student and international. So it's like, yeah. But thankfully I classify as home student in terms of like finance and stuff. So
yeah, thank God that you didn't have to pay the fees.
I was grateful. Yeah, I was lucky in that sense because a lot of international students would have been, in a lot of trouble.
And when you came to uni, Shaquita, what was it like for making friends and things like that?
I'm quite introverted and very shy, so I won't really put myself out there, and like if I didn't have to talk to people I wouldn't, so it was a bit difficult in that sense, but that was more of a personal aspect. So I ended up going to the dance team, and that's how I made like my friends that I'm still friends with to this day. A lot of them have graduated and we still meet up every now and again, and they are like some of my best friends, and Marie as well, and the other officers. I made friends with them through loads of like jmsYOU events, but that was kind of how to do it without factoring in being estranged. So a lot of my friends didn't really understand the circumstances, and it was difficult when like people would mention, oh, I'm going home for summer, this parent's moving me in, like, or oh, we're going on holiday, what are you getting your parents for this occasion? And it's just kind of, you just go back into your shell because you can't really relate, but you don't want to be like, oh, this is actually really emotional and triggering for me, so I don't want to. I'm very like cautious on making other people feel uncomfortable, but I think had I have reached out to the networks that we had at the time, so in jmsYOU we have communities and we have the Estranged and Care Leaver community, had I have accessed that, I probably would have been in a better position, because I've got my friends, I love my friends to pieces, but they don't quite understand as much as that community would. And I think the communities act as a good space to talk about those issues, and even just the way that university is different, so finance, housing, that type of thing, like going home over the breaks. It just would have been nice to have support from people who really do see what you're going through.
Yeah, because, like, again, that's kind of how we bonded as well, because, like, we're both obviously from a black minority background, exchange, and, like, certain things that I would, if I was to talk to the officers, they would understand, but I know, for example, certain aspect, I'll go straight to Shaquita and be like, okay, this, and I know she'll understand in the same way. And for example, like the holidays, that's usually the kind of like the saddest period for some, not all. For example, summertime can be very frustrating as well because you have to work so much to be able to afford rent and anything, or socializing as well can be an issue because like if you're working overtime and then you have uni and then you have deadlines, you can't really socialize with other people. So holidays are holidays, birthdays, any kind of like celebration can be very hard for Estranged and care leavers.
I was gonna say, like, obviously with the festive period sort of coming very, very soon, I was gonna say, how do you both normally feel around this time, especially when it's coming to like festivities or Christmas and things?
Yeah, so it's funny because like my birthday is also in December, then you've got Christmas, then you've got literally everything happening in December. So it's good because obviously I've got like friends around me that want to like do celebration and like make me feel better, but sometimes it's like your own type of like internal things. You're like, oh, I don't really fancy celebrating, like I didn't do anything for my birthday because I was like, I don't want to be around anything positive right now. I just want to be in bed, have food and stuff like that. So it can be a bit hard, but yeah, we just gonna find something to do. Hopefully spending Christmas with this one.
Yeah, I think it's finding people that are sensitive about the topic as well. Like, I'm not going to say to people, don't talk about Christmas around me because I'm going to be on my own. Like, I don't expect people to be like that. But it's just like, for example, Marie and Clodagh as well. They always check in to see, like, what I'm going to be doing on Christmas. Like, am I going to be on my own? Do you need anything from me? Like, that type of thing. People just being a little bit more aware that it is a sensitive time. And I think it's hard as well because I just throw myself into work over like the festive period. I've always just worked loads, and like if there's any kind of volunteering opportunities on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, I'll try and do them if I can, but they fill up very fast, so there isn't many this year. But like Marie's winter break is something that I'm going to definitely be going to, and I think if that was there for me as well during university, I would have been all over it.
Yeah, because like, again, sounds sad, but I don't have a life. So last year, like I was working as a nurse, like health assistant. So during Christmas Day, I was working because again, I was like, I'd rather be working than just be at home. But I was like in the student life building. I wasn't much aware of the SU. So obviously, if you're not aware, you're probably not gonna know that activities are going on, and everyone is gone and everything. Like, so it's very quiet and silent, and like there is nothing going on, so it's kind of like very sad to be here. So that's why this year I was like, well, might as well do something for the break, and just call it a winter break thing, because again, some people don't celebrate Christmas, some people can't go for whatever reason. So yeah, we're doing events, so come and join us. You don't have to be Estranged, any student can join us.
What sort of stuff are you doing with your
so I think I've done like 5 days of events. So one is like bowling. So we managed to secure like 30 tickets. They're free, that you can get on the website. Just make sure you turn up if you get it, and if you don't, let us know, because then we can bring other students to come. I have a karaoke night. It's not really, you don't have to sing. It's just more of like making friends and stuff. I can't sing, so just come and make friends. I have one where it's more like a cinema night in, so like a movie night. We're gonna have snacks. Again, all these events are more like to make friends. Like, you don't really have to like do anything, just show up, have some snacks, make friends. The SLB is like warm, save money, you know.
Yeah.
Come meet me and Shaquita if you
The meet and greet.
Yeah, meet and greet. Oh my god, yes, we do now. So yeah.
No, I think it is so good as well that, you know, like not everyone is able to go home for whatever reason. So I think being able to come in and also, like you said, be warm as well, because of how expensive it is at the minute to pay to live. Yeah. No, it would be really good. Yeah. What about you, Shaquita? What sort of events are you hosting as well?
So I mentioned the different community groups that we have earlier on, and we're going to be launching them a bit more heavily in January. So the Estranged and Care Leaver group will be meeting, I think it's the 24th of January. But it's not just that community, it's also the LGBTQ plus community. So they're the two that I'll be kind of taking the lead on for now until we have student representatives. So it'd be really great to get people to get involved in those and kind of meet like-minded people, try and influence some policy as well. It's just a really nice space to be around people that understand what you're going through, but also you are like actively making a difference and it's not too stressful, too straining on you. There's also the women's community, Northern Irish and Irish community.
Disability, ethnically diverse, international, postgrad, mature.
Disabled. Did I
I
mention
just
them
did
already?
that, yeah. So they're like 10 communities, so you're going to find something,
Yeah, definitely check them out on
But
the JMSU
website. Shout out.
And you've both like proven that, you know, that's like the perfect way to meet new people, and especially like-minded people as well. Yeah.
I met Marie through the ethnically diverse community last year, and now look at us.
I'm now joined with Phil Backstad from the Student Advice and Wellbeing team, who's here to share some university perspective on supporting estranged students and care leavers at LGMU. So, hi Phil, thank you for coming on the podcast. So, what support can estranged students and care leavers get whilst being at university?
Thanks for inviting me first off. There's a wide range of support that we offer to our students, and there's some very basic things that we can guarantee that students can access. So that's all year round accommodation, so somewhere to live that's appropriate, safe, and that's hopefully affordable all year round, and that includes during the summer terms as well, and for the duration of somebody's study at the university. We also make sure that if accessing accommodation is going to be an issue because somebody can't provide a guarantor or something really important like that, that we, if any of our students want to live in LJMU partner accommodation, we will ask them to waive the need for a guarantor. So that they can live in one of our partner halls for as long as they want when they're studying with us. We offer an additional bursary, so some extra financial help for students as well, on top of the other scholarships and bursaries that the university offer. So we were really lucky and grateful in 2009 to receive a donation from Yoko Ono's Spirit Foundation, and she set up our John Lennon Imagine Award in memory, obviously, of her famous husband, who was care experienced himself. So the bursary is an additional £1,000 a year. It's non-repayable. Students can use it for what they want, and like I say, we have more than 150 students access that bursary support every year as well. Part of my job is to be our care experience and estranged students' first point of contact. I don't like to say main point of contact in case people don't particularly like me, but just in terms of being that initial point of entry into the university. And I advise people on lots of different things when they're studying with us. And I might see some people really regularly. I might see some people just once or twice a year. But it's about having somebody who at the university is a known face, who can get to know our students individually and who they can get to know as well. And I'm still in touch with quite a lot of our graduates from when I started doing this job in 2010, way back when as well. So they're the basics of the support. But really, it does vary by what people might need when they need it. So it might be that on the run up to starting at university, there's quite a lot of practical stuff that people might be concerned about and might need support to put in place. So it might be that, and then once they're here, absolutely fine. It could be that somebody becomes estranged while they're studying with us. And then there's obviously quite some considerable practical considerations there, but it might be that they need some additional emotional support as well. Like I said before, when I started talking, there's a wide range of things that we offer here at the university, and we'll work with our students to make sure that they've got everything, hopefully, that they need at each point in the journey with us, I suppose.
Yeah, brilliant. And so if a student, say, is looking to get this support that you've just been talking about, how do they go about getting this support from your team? What are the first steps that they should do?
Just get in touch with us. So we're based in the Student Life building. Students can come to a drop-in and just speak to a member of the team who'll normally talk about some of the support that I offer with my service, and then make a referral to me if need be. You can get in touch with me, drop me an email, give me a phone call. There's videos of me floating around the website, like the picture of Dorian Gray. So hopefully at least people aren't unsure of who they're coming to. I'm never going to ask students to share their story. So but everything I do, I offer a confidential service. So students don't have to come in and tell us about things that might have happened in the past that may be uncomfortable to talk about. But I don't want anybody having to go into stuff that they don't want to just to access support. That's not how I want to work with people. So come in, have a chat. I've always got biscuits, and we can hopefully go from there.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We have more information on what we have spoken about today in the show notes, and you can also visit the jmsYOU website for more information. jmsYOU's advice team and student advice and wellbeing are also always available to speak to. I hope you have a great winter break, however you're spending it.